Hello, and welcome to The Gun Show by Mama Bear Defense. We are alive. If you've been following us for a while, you'll have noticed that we disappeared, and it's mainly because of me. So I will give a brief synopsis of what's been going on, and then we'll just get to the show, right? I got COVID back in November. Then we had family come visit, and then we recovered, and I was the only one that got COVID. Woo! But then we started leaving, and then the rest of my family got COVID. So we've been dealing with that until Christmas. Then we had more friends come visit, and then here we are. So that's pretty much just COVID is what shut us down, and the holidays. But I think hindsight, I will plan on stopping the show for 6 weeks or so that I can do the holidays, because these babies are crazy and holidays are a special time and mama's got to work to make it fun. So it's just a crazy time, but we all recovered. We're all well. And most of you that follow us on social media, thank you for your well wishes and your prayers and all the good vibes. So that is awesome. All right. While we were gone, stuff happened, right? I think the biggest one was the ATF. So if you're not familiar with the ATF, now you will be, because it was kind of crazy what they did. They are the Alcohol, Firearms, and Tobacco and Explosives, Bureau of Alcohol, Firearms, Tobacco, and Explosives. And they basically do with minor regulations and whatnot. Well, they did a major, and we actually talked about this with Pistol Pack Impala. They did a major sweep of millions of gun owners who had arm braces and decided that those were going to be illegal. And if you owned an arm brace, you're immediately a felon. And obviously that was a problem because no one voted on this. It was just this committee of people in the ATF that decided, we think this shouldn't be legal, and just basically shut it down. And so us gun owners, we responded by writing comments, and it got to 50,000 comments on the ATF website. You could comment your opinion, and after 50,000 comments, they decided to suspend their proposed pistol brace guidance. And that was a little on the 23rd, so a little Christmas present, early Christmas present for us gun owners, that our activism worked. However, it brought forth a blaring problem for us. We realized that how vulnerable we are, and how you could lose your freedoms just without a vote, without any say, just because this small little group of woke individuals decides to. So we're going to be keeping an eye on the ATF, especially with a potential Biden presidency. Speaking of presidencies, there is supposed to be a major rally on January 6th in Washington, D.C. And it's a pro-Second Amendment, pro-Trump, pro-conservative rally. So if you're in the area, feel like making a trip, then definitely go and support that, because it just shows that we're not a minority like people think we are. Speaking of more legislation, always fun, with our little stimulus, there were several million amounts of funds being allocated towards potential gun control. So $25 million was allocated to the CDC to fund, this is the wording, to fund research on firearm safety and gun violence prevention. However, there is a caveat that said it cannot be used towards to promote gun control. So it's just research. And to be honest, I'm not really nervous about that, because if any of you remember what happened in 2008, when they did the huge, under the Obama administration, a huge gun violence research, and basically found out that on the low end, 10 times the amount of people or lives are saved from a firearm than killed by a firearm. And on the high end, it was 100 times greater of the lives are saved by a firearm versus killed. So, and they didn't really publish that, or they did, but it wasn't publicized. So I think honestly, that's what we're going to see, the same results, is that firearms end up preventing more crime than causing crime. Or, I mean, we know that firearms don't cause crime, but you know what I mean. Some other funding that the COVID bill did is $1 million to study the potential effects of school active shooter drills on students and faculty. Not really sure if they're like saying like the psychological effects of having to study this. Okay. 56 million for a slate of community-based programs that specialize in violence intervention, as well as increased funding to the National Integrated Ballistic Information Network and Crime Gun Intelligence Centers. So a bunch of gun stuff in there. Not, like I said, I'm not super nervous about results. We'll see what happens. I got my Trump money. Woohoo! Did you get yours? Comment. Some more news. Kyle Rittenhouse. Y'all remember him? I'll share the screen so you can look. This guy who was in Wisconsin, Kenosha, who was the 17-year-old with the gun running from people and shot through people. They added a curfew violation to his charges. His current charges, where were they? Is with intentional homicide with life in prison. That's his current charge. And then they added a curfew violation. There was also a slew of suggestions from people, like failure to pick up his brass after shooting people, jaywalking, littering, which was the failure to pick up his brass. Oh, disturbing the peace. Some people brought up some silly ideas, but anywho, I still hope that he gets off, because I feel, or I believe, that he's entitled to self-protection. Even if he put himself at risk, it doesn't really matter. I mean, we use the same thing with women at a bar. If you're wearing a scandalous outfit, it doesn't mean you should just lay down and take it, right? She's entitled to defending herself just like he is. Yeah, he may have put himself in a risky situation, but he's still entitled to self-defense. That's my 2 bits. You can comment yours. Something really cool that I saw. I'm also going to share the screen on this one for those who are watching. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service created an interactive map where you can see, and I it's obviously not comprehensive. I know this because I'm currently in Kansas and they don't have all of the shooting ranges, but they have shooting ranges and archery places throughout the United States. And I'm scrolling in, and you can see the places that you can go shoot. Like, I'm over here in Kansas and they only show, and I'm in Wichita down here, and they only show one in El Dorado, but I know there's more ranges around here. So I don't know if we can contribute to that, because dang, Missouri is full. Like, the East Coast is pretty filled in. Some states, Illinois is completely empty. Wyoming's empty, and I know there's places to shoot there. Same with Montana and Washington. So it's not a full map, but they have, I believe it was, 623 total locations to shoot and do archery and whatnot, which I thought was really cool. I like it. I'm all for that. So cool. Fish and Wildlife, putting our money to good use. Now, let's see what's next here. The Remington, we knew this back in September, that Remington went bankrupt, which I think is so fascinating. Like, this is probably one of the biggest years for guns financially. I mean, I think we're at record sales and this gun company still goes bankrupt. But Vista, however you want to say it, Vista Outdoor purchased them. And then I did some research into Vista Outdoor and to see what is this organization and what they include. And look at all these brands. So the major ones are Federal Premium, Camelback, Bushnell, Camp Chef, Remington, because they bought them out, Primos, Blackhawk, Bell, I said Bushnell already, Golf, Eagle, Spear. So, I mean, there's just some, Hops or Hopes, Hoppies. I feel like I need to look up an actual way of how to say that. I say the name enough that I feel like I should know it. Anywho, so yeah, the Vista Outdoor owns all of these brands and they bought Remington. Good for them. And now that I am talking about Vista Outdoor and Federal made a video that I shared on our social media a while back. And I just think it's fascinating because a lot of us are concerned, like what's happening with our ammo. So this is the president of Federal speaking, and he's kind of explaining his angst of the situation. I'm going to play 2 minutes of this video because I just think it's good to stay knowledgeable from the source, right? You're going to hear we read a lot of rumors and whatnot, but this is from the source of who's making a lot of ammo.
Hi, I'm Jason Vanderbrink, president of Federal CCI, Spear, and Remington Ammunition. And I got to say, I am tired of all the hate mail. I'm tired of people showing up at our factories. I'm tired of reading the misinformation out on the internet right now about us not trying to service the demand that we're experiencing. It gets really old when I hear and read constantly that our ammunition companies are not making ammunition. We're having secret warehouses. We are selling to only specific customers. And after a year like right now where we have hired hundreds of employees to support American manufacturing jobs, all I hear is we're not making ammunition. So we want to keep the team motivated so we continue to make ammunition to try to service this market. But if we just look back on basic economics.
So I think this point is very crucial, like what he outlines.
7 million new shooters since March, times 2 boxes, which is a conservative estimate, is 700 million new rounds of ammunition our 3 factories have to help produce.
That's in addition to all of us previous gun owners and the ones that, I mean, most of us gun owners like more than 2 boxes of ammo.
That is impossible to do in 9 months. It takes months to train people. You actually got to train people to make ammunition. That takes time. You got to get the raw materials. And on top of that all, we're dealing with a pandemic. And at all of our ammunition factories, the health and safety of our personnel and employees are number one. So tie all of that in together, and you will see today that we are indeed making ammunition. We indeed are shipping ammunition. We're not storing it in secret warehouses. But I wanted to address those rumors because every day I hear something new and it's simply not true. We're making all of the ammunition as fast as we can. we really, really feel humbled that the demand is high for our products.
So there is his 2 bits, and I'm sure he's getting a lot of hate. Because yeah, we want our ammo, man. And the price of it is just insane right now. However, I believe we've gone through this before. Ammo spiked and then it went back to normal. So that's what I'm clinging to, normal prices. If you are coming up with New Year's resolutions or 2021 and funds are tight because of COVID or life, here's some ideas that you could do at home or outside, but with pretty low money. And they are skills that can help you feel prepared for, life. So tying knots, exercising. I think this is really fascinating to me that people will be so proficient with firearms and with the mindset of I'm being prepared, but they're not healthy enough to like walk a half a mile or whatever it is, really work hard on that, because that's a huge part of being prepared, is being able to have mobility. Controlling your emotions. That's another aspect. I've been reading this book. Oh, I could pull it up. It's by Sam Sheridan. I don't know if you guys have heard of it. And he breaks down the mental aspect of a disaster and how your reaction to that disaster. And there's a code system. It's like red. It's called the disaster diaries. Blah, blah, blah. It's a hard one for me to say for some reason, but there's different levels, and red is like your highest level, and then you can go into black, and black means your heart rate's so high and emotions are crazy that your ability to think and process things completely is eliminated. And it's actually a very common reaction. They took Navy SEALs and like highly trained people and studied them under intense situations with drawing. And when an adult is drawing or copying a picture, what we do is we will draw the outline first, so the big picture, and then we fill in the details. A child, like my 5-year-old, starts at one side of the paper and draws to the other side, so in a linear fashion. Well, they took these specialists and put them in a stressful situation and then had them draw. And you know what they did? They shut down their normal thinking and they drew in a linear fashion, which can harm you in a situation. You need to have your emotions controlled. Practicing situational awareness, that's free. Practicing dry fire. I'm going to go over some dry fire stuff here. Listening and transmitting with ham radio, kind of interesting. Read, learn how to set up primitive shelters, cooking, make a fire, creating emergency plans. We at Mama Bear Defense have several classes that are launching, one in Solano, California, and then up the Utah Wasatch Front, that's going to talk about home emergency defense plans and analyzing your home structure and what are your weak points and how you can fortify your weak points and whatnot. So if you're interested in help in that, check out our schedule, mamabeardefense.org. And then running mock drills. So you come up with a plan and then you run a drill, especially with your kiddos. If you got kids in the home, you've got to run that. All right. So that's the news, and that's some ideas to help you. I wanted to go briefly over something to help you if you want to dry fire and you want to improve. So here's my unloaded gun, just so I can show you. I think if you are going to dry fire and you don't have any tools, any additional tools than your gun, technically you don't have to buy any. You can remove your magazine and then you rack your slide, point it in a safe direction, align your sights, and pull the trigger. And then you will rack again and pull the trigger. You can set a coin on the tip here of the barrel, and then you're pulling the trigger and making sure that your gun isn't shaking with your trigger pull to make sure your sights are aligned, and that will help you be more accurate. If you're going to purchase one thing, I would say the best thing to purchase, just one thing, would be dummy rounds. Dummy rounds are usually completely plastic, or you can have a metal casing with a completely plastic insert on the inside. So two versions. Why would I say that? Is because with dummy rounds, you can practice malfunctions. You can practice quicker transactions. You can practice with your actual magazine inserted, and it's not going to cause a problem. You can dry fire with center fire pistols. However, if you have a rimfire, you have to have some sort of dummy round designed for that, because you will ruin your pistol without doing that. So yeah, I mean, with a dummy round, you're inserting and then you're practicing. Okay, let's practice a maybe a type 1 malfunction. So that's a click, no bang, right? You're going to click and then your tap, rack, you saw that entered, and then you're back on target. So you can practice a lot. You can set up a type 3 malfunction. If you want to go up from there, but you're still kind of tapped for price or money, I would say doing one of these, which is a laser cartridge, and you can find them pretty cheap, like 30 bucks on Amazon for your specific caliber. So you're going to look up 9mm laser cartridge. And what it does is when you dry fire, the firing pin strikes this little pad, which lights up the opposite side of the cartridge and shines through the barrel of your gun and shows where that shot would hit. So for those of you watching, you load it into your gun, then you're going to point it somewhere, and then you can see where it hits. They have lots of different systems. The sky's the limit on your price. That was kind of out of the range of sight, but there you go. Yeah, you're not limited. There's iTarget. There's all sorts of intense systems there, but I really like the laser cartridge. It's really cost effective and nice, pretty easy. Last thing I use is this tap rack reset magazine catch. So I can, it basically prevents my magazine from locking. Because let me show you. If I put, even if I have that laser cartridge, if I put a loaded magazine and then I wrap the slide, it's going to lock. And then that's going to be annoying. And then I'll pull the trigger. With the 1911 style, I actually can just pull the hammer back. But with striker fire pistols, you cannot. So with a striker fire pistol, you're definitely going to need an insert, a magazine lock stop. And then you put that in and it fools the gun and it doesn't lock now because it has that little lock in there. Those are some tools to help you for your dry firing endeavors for 2021. If you have other ideas, feel free to share, right? We're all about more ideas and helping each other get better. The last thing for today, is our armed citizen story. This is a Christmas one. And in California, a woman in Stockton was forced to defend herself when her neighbor forced his way into her apartment and then started assaulting her and her family members. And this, what blew my mind is it's at 2:45 p.m., like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Her neighbor comes in, starts arguing with her. Well, they start arguing outside. So he's not in the house and they're maybe yelling, I don't know. Then it escalates and the neighbor, 32-year-old guy, thinks, you know what, I'm going to break in. I'm going to knock down her door. And then he starts punching her in or whatever, punching her neighbors or her family members. She gets a gun, shoots him. It wasn't life-threatening. And then he went to the hospital and then went to jail. So, woohoo. Another life defended, and I'm glad no one lost their life. And hopefully the lesson learned that you don't break into people's houses and start beating on them, right? All right, hope you all are doing swell, and we will see you next week. Bye-bye.